Like all good people in this evil little world, when I first heard about Pluribus, Vince Gilligan's new TV show that focuses on not a bald, angry man getting involved in schemes, or a hairy, smarmy man getting involved in schemes, but a woman being irritated by an apocalyptic alien mind virus,
grave-robbing psychopaths!
I was pumped up.
The I in Pluribus is going to be the numeral 1.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I was excited to see, number one, the aforementioned hairy man's stony-faced girlfriend Kim Wexler as the lead in this new series.
My speech says get a prescription for beta blockers, but I did not, sorry.
Number two, her as a lesbian romantasy author this time around.
The amaranthine slip-stand closed over him, leaving nary a ripple.
And number three, the enticing premise of every single person on Earth, apart from that lesbian romantasy author, developing a shared consciousness on account of the alien mind virus.
Nobody's in charge, or everybody's in charge. Really, there's no such thing anymore.
Yippee, I thought. That's a premise. One shell-shocked and disgruntled lesbian against the whole world unified as one.
I'm so happy.
What dazzling symbolism and bizarre scenarios will I be blessed with? Well, as it turns out, Pluribus is a bit stinky.
That could be problematic.
Hour zero. Our entry into this world is flawless. Carol Sturcker, our protagonist, is finishing up her book tour. She reads an extract of her latest novel to an enraptured audience, signs copies for the dweebs in the book's signature accent color, and talks shit about her adoring fans the second she's out of earshot.
Best book tour. What is that? Is that like best stomach cancer?
Oh, how I hate all those paying customers showering me with love and respect. And why do I have to make so much money? Wah!
She despises them all, she hates her stupid books, and she needs a big drink. When I saw this, I was excited for the show I imagined ahead of me. I was ready for the envisioned forthcoming parallels between Carol's perception of her fans as brainless, unthinking, interchangeable plebs, and the actual interchangeable conglomerate of all humans on Earth combined into one gargantuan shared consciousness. This will have fun things to say about individualism, misanthropy, and taste, I thought. I was already chuckling. Look at this horrible book cover. It's perfect. The rest of the episode followed suit and was great. I loved the lightning-fast pacing, the creepy synchronization as the assembly line of infected people grew, and the very effective sense of discomfort that pervades as this all unfolds. There are details in this show that are scintillating. Vince Gilligan shows are, after all, known for how they linger on human minutiae, on the still background and ephemera of all manner of fuck-up. Carol and her wife, Helen, are making fun of reviews of the new book outside a bar while they smoke yummy cigarettes.
17 exclamation points.
Wow.
Yeah, is that a new record? It's gotta be.
When Carol notices oddly parallel plane trails in the sky.
Was that weird? Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? All of them kind of parallel like that.
A passed out guy crashes his car a little bit, and Helen falls down. That cigarette had alien juice on it or something, and whoa, it looks like everyone's convulsing up in here. That ain't normal. From there, Carol embarks on a frenetic quest to get some help, and so the entire second half of the episode is this beautiful mad rush. Albuquerque is on fire, everyone is speaking in unison now. We just wanna help Carol. And Helen dies. It feels genuinely huge and scary. Carol arrives at the ultimate symbol of health and help, the hospital, and finds it populated with shuddering zombies.
Please wake up.
She is alone, and she's surrounded. We break this with an arguably more frightening moment of peace. Carol gets home, and the mysterious mass finally talks to her one-on-one, so to speak, through her TV.
You are talking to me from my TV!
So after all of that high adrenaline horror and monumental loss and destruction, the lull and momentum brings us exposition in one of the show's funniest scenes.
Can I talk to the president?
That individual passed away this evening, unfortunately.
And just as soon as it broke the tension, it brings it back. The representative of the alien thingy tells Carol, "Don't worry, right now you're pretty unique, but soon enough, we'll absorb you too."
So we can fix it. So you can join us.
That is a perfect first episode. The heightened intensity of it all, the pinch of silliness, the unfolding of the premise is pristine, the set piece is impressive and frightening. But now what? Where do we go from here? Episode 2, the first signs of weakness. Okay, it's the second episode. We know the basic plot, we've established the plub, and now it's time to really get into it. To see Carol and the plub people interact more concretely. But with the rocket thrust of the inciting incident cooling off, the show immediately starts to wane a little bit, starts to feel like it might not have what it takes to propel my ass through a full season. Carol wakes up, remembers that her wife's dead body is right there, and we watch her pick out a beautiful, colourful blanket to bury her in. It's here that a woman shows up.
Hello?
And this was the first real seed of doubt for me because what happens next is something that I find a bit too stupid. This is Zosha, although we don't learn her name, or rather the name of this body that is being puppeted by the combined neutered minds of 8 billion people, until a bit later, because, well, Carol doesn't care to wonder about that. Carol knows this is the Plurb, and that's that. This woman, as it turns out, was chosen to be the body largely interfacing with Carol on the Plurb's behalf because she is the living human body who looks the most like a female version of the sexy pirate man from Carol's books.
Who are you?
Someone we thought you might like.
This is essentially Carol's ideal fantasy woman, the perfect woman that she keeps locked up safely in her mind. And this is an interesting thread, this ability the Plurb has to take Carol's deepest, darkest secret desires and essentially make them real. But the way this is communicated to us, the way Carol realizes that this great feat of manipulation is what's happening, is through this warped illustration. Carol looks at this woman and then looks at this picture and recognizes them as the same.
What the hell is this? Are you supposed to be my character, Raban? Why?
I guess that's funny, but the show offers this up somberly.
Why Raban as a woman?
This is the genuine intention of the Plurb, to bring her a version of her character.
If we chose poorly, we apologize. We just want you to be happy.
And I feel like I have entered a different, more idiotic universe. Would Carol really recognize the vague, murky fantasy person in her mind in this woman's face?
My original version of him was a her. But I talked myself out of it.
Some of the Plurb's behavior across the season is reminiscent of AI, of large language models.
All of her thoughts, her memories, they're right here.
It is, after all, a sort of aggregating force that spits out a hollow version of its source material.
You've only got tonic water, half a carton of oat milk, a jar of green olives, a jar of black olives.
And I can't help but think that this moment could be an interesting portrayal of something like an AI hallucination if handled slightly differently. This woman, despite being pulled out of the entire human population to act as a representation of this character, doesn't resemble the character in any way. But that's the fun scene in my mind. What really happens is that Carol looks at this woman and sees the fantasy in her head and calls her Pirate Lady, real quirky style, because she actually just recognizes her from this stupid drawing.
The pirate lady can come back if she wants. Pirate lady. Pirate lady.
It's the first moment where we break from the reality of the situation and enter Madness World. It's a detail that makes me think, huh? But there's a bigger huh to be found in this episode. Brown people. The bulk of the episode concerns Carol meeting a small group of other people who have miraculously escaped being absorbed by the Pluribus blob.
How many people like me in the world did you say? 11 others?
These are the only people left alive, essentially, and so she wants to meet with them to discuss a plan for dealing with the situation.
What are we gonna do about this?
But as it turns out, none of the others give the slightest shit that everyone they've ever known was just absorbed into one personality-less mass.
It is up to us to put the world right.
Why?
They don't mind at all. In fact, they like it.
I am not convinced things are as bad as you say.
Because Carol is the only white person here, we can read a lot into that divide. I've come across some musing on the show's alleged exploration of Western individualism versus Eastern collectivism. Some viewers were pleased by what they saw as an uprooting of typical bullheaded American Carol's righteous assumption of the morally correct anti-plurb position here.
Why save the world? That's your question?
Why does the world need saving? At present, the situation seems very nice.
But to me, this interpretation doesn't quite work. The non-Carol individuals largely don't have any sort of thoughts about what has happened. They're not worried, they're not bothered, they don't care. And they largely don't express any sort of thoughts or reactions to this massive worldwide event that killed a lot of people and necessarily has materially negative effects on their lives. I don't think this is an expression of some sort of cultural relativism, but more an empty mass of nothing characters who exist exclusively to drive Carol further into isolation.
Warm up my plane. I'm going home.
Good riddance.
Two of these characters express actual views on the matter. Kumba, who uses the Plurb as his personal harem and argues that the situation is fine because, well, there's no crime anymore. There's no suffering.
As we speak, no one is being robbed or murdered.
A flimsy argument when the cause of this new crimeless world is everyone being effectively dead, and when you're actively taking advantage of the default people-pleasing, ever-consenting nature of the reconstituted personalities of the dead to do something to their bodies that would be a crime if they hadn't been plurbed of their ability to say no. And then there's Kusumayu, a young Peruvian woman who explicitly wants to be joined.
What's going to happen
When they figure out how to turn us into them.
That is what I want.
In the show's final episode, Kusumayo gets her wish. Her plurbed family members perform a beautiful, reverent plurbing ceremony, this gorgeous celebration that incorporates traditional song and dress. And everything is beautiful. She joins. She becomes one of them, and in an instant they stop. There is no more need for beauty, or expression, or comfort, or togetherness. They silently move into their assembly line, they release the confused village animals, and there is no need for Peru anymore. This scene makes it explicit. The plurb is a horror. These are not people with the combined minds and dreams and cultures of everyone that was absorbed. They are a flattened, hollowed mass. The humanity is gone.
Do I know you?
Hi.
You're the fucking mayor.
Beyond the vaguely transhumanist smokes and mirrors,
She's gone, but all of her thoughts, her memories, they're right here.
there is just emptiness. So yes, Carol is textually right,
You are traitors to the human race!
and the rest of them are mindless. And perhaps part of the point here is that. Here is another example of mindlessness. You don't have to be plurbed to be thoughtlessly accepting. You can understand Kusumayo and her sad dream. She's lost everyone, and this is her way of imagining being reunited with them in a version of heaven.
I want to be with my cousin.
Oh, honey.
But the others are just kind of going along with it, and I find that lack of character annoying. This isn't helped by the fact that Lakshmi as a character exists to be a sort of comic chastiser of Carol and nothing more.
You are a horrible person.
Okay, who is the angry one now?
I groaned at Carol's gynecologist taunting because, let's be real, this woman wouldn't be bothered about her little son having more medical knowledge.
For a pelvic exam, what kind of speculum do you prefer?
It would depend. Both have their uses.
But, I mean,
The apparent unsavoriness of specializing in vaginal health, grow up, Carol, vaginas are a normal part of the body, Carol, is surely trumped by the fact that, like, your 7-year-old is a trained doctor now. I mean, that's pretty cool. This boy is gonna treat your vagina, Carol, and you're gonna thank him. This meeting with the unreachable other survivors already settling happily into their lives with their plurbed family members and whatever yummy treats they can bring serves as the catalyst for Carol's descent into madness. At the end of this second episode, after she lets Kumba know that he's a disgusting pig,
what is wrong with you? They are a bunch of brain-damaged incompetents, but you keep sticking your dick in them.
she reluctantly saves her pirate lady from a sexual interaction with him and so gains a sliver of connection with Zosha. She can't connect with or save the other survivors because they're their own people. But since Zosha can't choose to prioritize one survivor's wishes over another,
We can't choose.
in this case to, yes, have sex with Kumba, or to, no, not have sex with Kumba, ew, because the plurb purpose is to do anything and everything a still autonomous person wants,
That's your idea of paradise? Being used like some sex doll?
Carol can exert some control here by choosing to take Zosha away from Kumba. There is some sense of a moral imperative here for Carol, but it's also her first step into letting herself get attached to the new world, her first time giving in to the plurb's promise of control and choice. Carol pain. The chewy core of the season concerns the destruction of Carol's searing hater spirit. For a while she fights the plurb. She tries to collect information about it, discovers it can't lie to her, uncovers that there is, apparently, a way of reversing the joining.
Is there a way to reverse it? The joining?
And drugs Zosha to try and get her to give up extra information.
How do I reverse the joining?
No.
Which gives Zosha a little bit of a heart attack.
She's dying, Carol. She's in cardiac arrest.
Unfortunately, the plurb doesn't like that. And so it physically leaves Albuquerque and stops talking to Carol for 40 days.
They completely abandoned the city I live in, leaving me here all alone.
At the beginning of this period of isolation, Carol investigates further, determined to find out how to get the plurb, and bolstered by the apparent knowledge that there is a way to reverse the plurbening.
There is a way to reverse this.
She updates the other survivors a few times, gets no response, and finds out from Kumba that the plurb have hit a wall on researching custom plurbening agents for each survivor because their unbreakable ethics don't allow them to collect the stem cells they need in order to do so without express permission.
It seems the only way to make the virus work on us is by tailoring it to our individual stem cells, something they cannot do without our permission.
This relieves Carol, and so for a while she enjoys a warped solitary paradise, knowing that neither the other survivors nor the Plurb want to be around her.
They want to come back, Carol. They're just looking for a change of heart.
Fuck 'em.
She goes to art galleries, she plays destructive golf, she eats yummy dinners, and she sets off elaborate fireworks displays just for her. But this total isolation wears thin almost immediately. She is bored. Couldn't be me because I'd be playing every Dragon Quest game, so I'd be totally fine. The slimes would keep me company, but she's literally bored as hell. So she asks them to come back. They do, and Carol is struck by the grief of it all, rushing to embrace the only thing she has left, her enemy. The horrible extended isolation utterly destroys Carol. She finds out that the other survivors do Zoom calls that they exclude her from.
What, you just hang out?
Tuesdays and Fridays.
Which she's really upset by. And all of this is a kind of stunning character moment. When she runs to Zosha in tears, you might feel angry. No, Carol, you spent months railing against the invader. Don't just give it a hug and a kiss now. But of course, she's exhausted and suffering, and she's the target of a straightforwardly torturous campaign of manipulation here. Kumba said it.
They want to come back, Carol. They're just looking for a change of heart.
The Plurb wants to break Carol.
This is a recording. Our feelings for you haven't changed.
Got it.
But after everything that's happened, we just need a little space.
Got it.
And it succeeds. This sequence is a narratively interesting one, but it's grating to watch Carol, our one human who has any sort of conscience or fear concerning the Great Plurbaning, completely collapse and shuffle off into a resigned acceptance of it alongside the others. It's unsatisfying to be in this ghoulish lull watching creepy dates between Carol and her pet woman, as much as the show makes it clear that we are evidently dealing with villainry and that Carol's emotional needs and unpleasant personality drive her to complicity because despite her strongly misanthropic spirit, she desperately needs and wants other people.
We love him the same as we love you.
No.
Something about it feels so irritating. One of this show's major problems is its lack of characters and personalities. Its survivors are thinly characterized and generally have little to say.
Lakshmi, I think that there might be a way to fix it.
You do not ever make my son cry again.
And its Plurb woman is essentially a stepward wife happy bot with no feelings.
How about it?
So essentially, Carol has very little opportunity to bounce off of another personality. Any flashback scene where she can talk to Helen is such a breath of fresh air because most of the dialogue in the show is very stiff.
Stop it. It's a bestseller.
Top 20.
Yeah.
But like closer to 11 or closer to 20?
You're impossible.
Obviously, her conversations with Kumba and the others must be somewhat distant, given that she is made an outsider to them.
What was your reaction? I mean, or do you even have one?
As I said, it is troubling.
And the Plurb is simply not very human, and thus not usually very forthcoming or compelling.
Can we help you find something?
Do you have any heroin?
But the result of these narrative commitments is some dull TV. After the second episode, we spend very little time with anyone other than Carol and Zosha, and so the season drags, not helped by the thin, languishing plot. Carol spends all this time hunting down information alone, only for most of it to be discarded in favor of giving her goo-goo eyes for a personalityless droid she has no chemistry with.
Why is she gotta be so goddamn fuckable?
Pluribus shines in its more illuminating scenes, its moments of great character building, like the scene where Carol, desperate for some semblance of independence in her new hell, orders her local grocery store back into operation.
I am a very independent person, okay? I always have been. I fend for myself. I just want my sprouts back.
Absolutely.
And watches a robotic parade of Plurb people restock it. This communicates wonderfully the magnitude of the Plurb as a being, the hollowness of its gestures, and the manic desperation Carol has to have any choice or control at all.
All set, Carol. Call us if there's
something you want that's not here.
Or in maybe the best scene of the entire show, where Carol invites this guy, my favorite single Plurb body, honestly, into her house to quiz him on what the Plurb thinks of art.
Do you like my books?
Oh, we love your books.
What do you love about them?
Everything.
Because of the flattening of all human experience into a sort of catalogue of information, no art can have any distinction to the Plurb.
You are telling me that you love the Waikaro series as much as the most famous English language play of all time.
All art is equivalent. The Plurb has no preferences. The Plurb has no passions and makes no choices. The Plurb happily accepts sex with this dweeb. The Plurb's unfeeling acceptance of everything is not so much a marker of gorgeous, peaceful contentedness, but as a black hole where the human mind used to be. And that stupid black hole loves Carol's books.
We greatly admire the description of Lucasia's gown on page 2. Gossamer threads of the finest Shang silk.
That's awesome. The mindless adoration of Carol's fans who she derides becomes the mindless adoration of the Plurb. But at least they were real people who found value in her work. Now, art is over. Art is done. These scenes are magical, but across Pluribus's runtime there are vast swathes of empty, sourceless sequences. When Minusos' lengthy journey towards America is intercut with Carol's miserable attempts to blast herself on board with bombastic entertainment, it's very pretty, and it paints a picture of the extreme and excruciating scenarios both characters find themselves in, but it's also kinda dull. We get it. Nothing's happening. But here, in Carol's Breaking, is the show's most interesting idea. Carol gives up and gives in to the shallow fantasy she's left with. After the crushing weight of its abandonment, she clings to the Plurb, desperate for the only source of company she can access.
How about a board game?
We see the horrifying unfolding of their relationship, their simulated intimacy.
It's like playing cards with fucking Google.
We see the manipulation reach a crescendo.
You are trying to distract me.
And it almost feels real. Carol is almost happy.
That's good.
At this moment, I thought, oh my god, what if Carol is just happy? What if when she finally just gives in to the temptation of living in a fantasy world of her own making where this fake woman exists to serve her, to be fake pirate girlfriend forever, is actually the only experience Carol has ever had in her life of true happiness?
I must have every happy chemical flowing in my bloodstream. I keep thinking it's gonna go away, but then it doesn't.
How dark and evil and beautiful that would be. I felt gleeful imagining that this could be how the show ends, with this sinister exposure of its protagonist's pure selfishness finally quenched. A kind of Marty Supreme moment. A lesbian Marty Supreme. Who cares that under the Plurb the whole world will starve within 10 years?
Most of the world's population will starve to death within the next 10 years.
Until then, this one surly lesbian can play The Sims with an entire planet of real people. That ending would have been shocking and satisfying in its abject depravity, and I would have had to say on some level, good for her.
That was good. It was close.
But no, Carol must come to her senses and return to the podium as a hero before the season ends.
I don't think I'm good. It's just feeling good.
And how this happened, you guessed it, bugged me. Minusos. Okay, there's a cool guy in the show I haven't really mentioned yet. He's a final survivor who's given some attention later in the season, who doggedly distrusts and avoids the Plurb, goes on a painstaking journey to find and talk to Carol without accepting the assistance of the Plurb, says this really cool righteous line when they relentlessly try to assist him.
Nada en este planeta es de ustedes.
Gets injured and forced to rely on the Plurb, and remains shrouded in a layer of mystery throughout the season. Minusos and Carol meet, and to his horror, he discovered that this person who he has travelled across the world to take action against the Plurb with no longer cares.
You can get back in your ambulancia and fuck right off. I'm finito.
They have a tense discussion, complicated by a language barrier they can only get past with machine assistance.
They are not evil.
Ellos no son malvados.
They wouldn't even kill an ant.
And isn't it evil to value a man the same as an ant?
And it's clear that Carol is too deep into her faux relationship with Zosha to empathize with or connect with Minusos, instead seeing him as a psychotic maniac.
You're a psycho, you know that?
Minusos is compelling. He's the one person left who has not given up and accepted the pleasantries of the apocalypse, and so he is fabulous to watch.
My name is Manusos Oviedo. I am not one of them. I wish to save the world.
But it's interesting just how little there actually is to him. He's quiet and brooding, and he gives these sinister looks.
Please?
He has an air of determination and a rageful flame within, and that's Manousos, you know? What's Manousos' deal? We just don't know. Yet he is compelling thanks to his unstoppable passion. Carol has let her anger dissipate into some other thing, but Manousos has been nursing it, keeping it alive at all costs. Manousos is left confused and disappointed by his meeting with Carol, and Carol goes back to her robot girlfriend. As long as things stay the same, she's contented enough. She can still drink whiskey, and she can have sex and watch TV and eat ice cream with this woman thing forever. Like I said, potentially deliciously evil. Carol lets the world die for a hollow fantasy, banger ending, kiss kiss to you, Vince Gilligan, you sexy genius. But oh god, spanner in the works. The Plurb has found a way of absorbing Carol.
There's no other way to get my stem cells, is there?
After this revelation that they have her cells and are working on crafting the sweet, yummy vapor that will add her to the Plurb,
My eggs.
Carol snaps out of it.
We saved the world.
The honeymoon is over now that she's in imminent danger, and so she grabs Manousos, tells him they're saving the world, and asks the Plurb, who will do anything she says, including sending her an atom bomb.
Would you like an atom bomb?
To send her an atom bomb.
What is this?
Atom bomb.
This is how the season ends. A sudden shift into war. Will they save Earth? And what does that even mean? So I find this finale rushed. Like the season as a whole, it feels weirdly structured. Some sequences feel dragged out and devoid of narrative tension, and others feel slammed out in a hurry. This season doesn't end in a satisfying arc, it doesn't end with any sort of release or great new hook, it ends in a deflated little cliffhanger. Wow. Will they bomb the Plurb? Will they bomb Carol's eggs? I can't help but find this ending with its little badass Carol moment kind of thoughtless, although it's a far cry from the true cliffhanger ending of episode 5, which felt insanely cheap. Not least because this reveal that the Plurb stores a bunch of human heads,
That is not a butterball turkey.
that the Plurb is using a cartoonishly creepy collection of frozen heads for something, doesn't have any sort of bearing on the series at all.
For the record, I am in no way pleased with the idea of these people eating human flesh.
Carol just finds those heads, says, whoa, that's scary, and nothing comes of it.
Each carton contains 8 to 12% of something we call HDP, human-derived protein.
Girl, then why do I care? There is an overall feel of weightless meandering here that just can't be saved by its twinkles of brilliance for me. Like, I love the speech Manousos gives the insistent Plurbs as they try to assist him in his cross-country journey.
No pueden darme nada, porque todo lo que ustedes tienen es robado.
I love the ice hotel flashback where Carol is miserable.
The bed is made of ice.
I love the reveal that Carol's wife didn't even like her books.
What did Helen think of my White Caro books?
She thought they were harmless.
Just didn't even like them, didn't even care, whatever. These are fabulous explorations of determined righteousness and resigned dissatisfaction and human disconnection, respectively.
Harmless?
And in the case of the latter, a rare moment for the Plurb to express anything other than bland contentedness. We stew in its excruciating reluctance to tell Carol the truth.
This line of inquiry isn't... Can we talk about something else?
But these moments of real texture and personality are just too few and far between in a season that feels desperate for more connective tissue between its characters and its episodes. I yearn for more of those glittering moments, the real bright parts of Pluribus. And I'm not confident I'll get them to my satisfaction in season 2. But of course, I hope so. Until then, well, Manousos said it best.
That world doesn't work for me.